I want you to walk us through all of these different findings and help us understand exactly why this isn't constitutional.
Okay, so I'm going to start with the why.
Okay.
Because I think that's the part that most people are really not understanding, is the implications of it. And so basically, when we think back to the purpose of this and where our founders stood, it was about making sure that there would not be interference from foreign countries on our democracy here and on our president. And so the reason that our presidents are not allowed to accept these funds is to make sure that there's not even the appearance that there is some funny businesses going on. It's similar to the ethics guidelines that we live by as members of the House, as well as when we're starting to talk about our judges. So that's why this matters. Mm-hmm. Number two, there's been a lot of talk about the fact that, oh, he gave the profits to the Treasury. Well, first of all, we don't know what he did because we don't have the records. And Chairman Comer decided, you know what, never mind. We don't want you to continue to give over records. So we do not have the full picture, number one, mm-hmm. to determine what the profits look like, but it doesn't matter. The law itself says that you can't take it. It doesn't matter that we get the profits. None of that matters. You can't take it at all without the approval of Congress. Now, let's talk about it. Go ahead.
No, I was going to stop you for a second because you mentioned that Chairman Comer didn't want you all to keep digging. And I guess the question is why? What is he so afraid of, in your opinion?
I think you know what he's afraid of. We all know that Trump is corrupt. I think we're all being, a little too polite and politically correct. So Trump is corrupt. Okay. And authority. Like, he is corrupt, and so are every single Republican that sits in the House that wants to go out and pretend that he's not and wants to coddle him and protect him. The problem is that when we are elected, we are not elected to serve at the will of Trump. We are elected to serve at the will of the people, and that's where the Republicans have gotten it wrong. So let's talk about exactly what happens and whether or not this is just the Democrats being upset about the impeachment because that's what they want to throw out there. It's not. This is something that started 7 years ago, and Trump fought every step of the way and did not want the Congress to gain access to this information. If, for whatever reason, what you're doing is on the up and up, then I don't know why you fought it, but that's what he likes to do. He likes to stay in courts. He likes to fight it. And so we didn't end up getting information until the end of 2022, September of 22. By January of 23, Comer was now in place, and Comer says, never mind, stop the flow of information. So $8 million to the average American probably sounds like a lot of money. Here's the deal. There's even more money. We know more money exists, and we don't know who it came from. We don't know about his businesses in Russia. We don't know if we are in the middle of these wars that we're supposed to be helping our friends out, and they're being precluded from getting that help because of some money maybe that was paid to Trump. We don't know. And that's the big problem, and that's the scary problem. And what's even scarier is that this guy is trying to get back into office.
I know you yourself mentioned that you don't really have a sense of what the entirety of the picture looks like, right? As you said, you've only, and I know that Congressman Raskin has said this himself, right? What you have is just a fraction of the total foreign payments. So just to help us understand the scale of what we're talking about, approximately how much money are we talking about here?
We're talking about approximately $8 million so far.
So far.
And this is so far, and this is on the conservative side. So the committee staff, who did a fantastic job, they skewed on the side of conservatism. So all of these numbers are downplayed. If they only had, say, for instance, a situation where the PRC, China, did a deposit for $19,000 for a stay, but we never received the records for how long they actually stayed and what the actual costs were. They only went with the $19,000 deposit. They didn't do anything as it relates to the actual monies because we didn't have that information. So I need people to understand that. And of the 8 million, approximately 8 million, approximately 5 million of it was actually from China. And we know right now, one of the things that the president has been trying to pass in the supplemental is support for Taiwan. We know that China for sure gave over these monies, and that's pretty much all we know. We know that we can coincide some visits to Mar-a-Lago with various monies that were exchanged. We also know now that he's filed his disclosures for the upcoming presidential election, that he absolutely received some trademarks out of China while he was a sitting president.
Well, let me ask you this then. Was that the most alarming or concerning revelation for you? I know you keep mentioning China. Was that the most sort of alarming thing you found, or what shocked you personally the most?
I don't know. The whole thing was bad. It was a lot, you know, knowing that he was taking money from Saudi Arabia at the same time that he was ignoring the advice of his own advisors and entering into this arms deal with Saudi Arabia. I mean, there's a lot of scary things in this report. And as people are on edge with war, you know, this only makes me more on edge about the possibility of him regaining access to the White House. And I honestly feel like this guy sold us out before. We know that we still don't understand fully what the secrets look like that were sitting down at Mar-a-Lago, but we know that he was reckless and intentionally reckless with our secrets and with the secrets of our friends. And so for me, I am concerned for our safety, and I want Americans to understand that while I know we love to live in a bubble, we're not. The Republicans are a threat. Tuberville was making a huge issue for us for national security. Trump is a walking national security threat, as well as a constitutional crisis, all mixed up in one.
Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, thank you so much for helping us understand all of these matters and for breaking down everything for us. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely.